Hey, everybody, and welcome back. What a great weekend of college football. Lots of top 25 teams go down. The top five all struggled, and one of the top five went down. So there will be a shakeup here. The top three in my ranking remains the same, but after that, huge shakeups here in the power ranking. Here it is, the top 10. And if you have not seen the resume ranking, go ahead and watch that. It's a ranking of resumes, not teams. And the top 9 of those teams are here in this top 10 power ranking. So just to give you an idea of what that's all about. Georgia remains number 1. They are 11-0 after beating Kentucky 16-6. Like I said, all these teams struggled, but they're undefeated and they have 6 really good wins: Oregon, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. Number 2, there's no reason to flip-flop or change any of these top 3 teams, in my opinion. They all struggled. Michigan is number 2, 11-0. On a last-second field goal by Jake Moody, they beat Illinois 19-17. And an epic game coming up this weekend for them. They are at Ohio State, but undefeated, wins over Maryland, Iowa, Penn State, and Illinois. Georgia has Georgia Tech at home, by the way. Ohio State is number 3. They are 11-0, and they beat Maryland 43-30, but that score does not indicate how close this game was. Maryland had a lead actually for a little bit there, but a defensive touchdown in the end put the game away for Ohio State. They have Michigan at home. They have 6 good wins: Notre Dame, Toledo, Wisconsin, Iowa, Penn State, and now Maryland. TCU jumps to number 4 after my number 4 lost handily. TCU is 11-0, and they beat Baylor on a last-second field goal, 29-28. They have Iowa State coming up at home, but they have the most. They have the number 1 resume ranking in the nation. Oklahoma, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, all good wins, 7 of them. So they come in at number 4. Number 5 is USC after their shootout thriller with UCLA. Another great game. 10-1. They beat UCLA 48-45. They have Notre Dame at home. So some great games coming up this weekend as well. But their only loss is to Utah in overtime at Utah. And they have quality wins over Fresno State, Oregon State, Washington State, and UCLA. So they are now in the top 5. Number 6 is Clemson. I believe they were number 9. Well, what were they? Number 9 last week. Nope, number 10 in my ranking last week. They move up to number 6. They beat Miami 40-10. They have South Carolina coming up, who just blew out Tennessee. So that'll be an interesting game as well. Their only loss is to Notre Dame, and they have wins over Wake Forest, NC State, Florida State, Syracuse, and Louisville. And Louisville, by the way, surprising top 10 team in the resume ranking with 4 losses. Crazy. Alabama is your number 7 team. They passed LSU and Tennessee. In my opinion, Tennessee has that win over them, but it's a 1-point game, or it was the last possession of the last play of the game where Alabama lost that game. In fact, both of Alabama losses were on the last play of the game, and they beat Austin Peay 34-0. They have Auburn coming up, and that game usually does not disappoint. Alabama, like I said, lost to Tennessee and LSU. They have good wins over Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss. Number 8 is Oregon this week after beating Utah. They are 9-2. They beat Utah 20-17. And they are at Oregon State this week, who is a ranked team, only has 3 losses. and they are very, very good team, so that should be interesting. They have wins over Washington State, UCLA, and Utah. Their 2 losses are to Georgia and Washington. And Washington is a 9-2 team as well, sneakily. Number 9 is where Tennessee falls to. They are 9-2. They lost to South Carolina 38-63. Ouch! Wow, is that defense not very good at all? But 38 points. The offense is still good. They are at Vanderbilt, which is a sneaky game. Vanderbilt is coming off wins over Kentucky and Florida, believe it or not. So watch out for that one. Tennessee, that'll be interesting. Tennessee has beaten Pitt, Florida, Louisiana State, Alabama, and Kentucky. Their only 2 losses are to Georgia and South Carolina. And your number 10 team this week is LSU. They were 8 last week, but a couple of teams jumped them. Number 10 this week, 9-2. They beat UAB 41-10. That's why. A couple other teams had better wins than the UAB. They will be at Texas A&M this weekend. And they have quality wins over Mississippi State, Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama, and Arkansas. And their 2 losses are to Florida State and Tennessee. So there you have it, the top 10. And if my number 11 team is Penn State. Their only 2 losses are to Michigan and Ohio State. But I just couldn't put them ahead of LSU, Tennessee, Oregon, Alabama, any of them teams. So they are number 11 right outside. And they will play Michigan State. So there you have it. The top 10 is number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Michigan. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, TCU. Number 5, USC. Number 6 is Clemson. 7 is Alabama. 8, Oregon. Number 9, Tennessee. And number 10, LSU. And like I showed you all the games that are coming up, it should be another fun and interesting weekend of college football. There you have it. Remember to like the video. Please share if you can on social media. Subscribe if you have not. And if you have, thank you. And remember just to have a great day and a glorious week going into Rivalry weekend. Thanks, everybody.